Hey, apparently I'm live. So I would believe. Cool. Alright. So this is a Burnout Dominator any % NG plus. I'll explain a bit more when we get going. But for now I'll give the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. So basically, any % NG plus is a category where you do all of the Grand Prix except for the Dominator Series Grand Prix. It's basically like doing an any % speedrun, except for you only have to do the Grand Prix rather than all the other boring events. The aim in any event is to basically get your supercharge boost as quickly as possible, which is when the boost bar in the bottom left corner turns blue, and then you have the ability to chain your boosts together. And okay, this is already going pretty badly, but you can do that and then you instantly get it. So it was all a tactical move. The ways you can build up your boost in several ways, the most notable of which is taking out your opponents, which instantly fills your entire boost bar, so that's by far the best method of doing it. But other ways include drifting, getting near misses, avoiding opponents crashing, driving in oncoming traffic, anything kind of remotely dangerous or like brave will fill up your boost bar. The game gets progressively faster as you go along. Obviously it makes sense to start with the slowest of the cars, and then the faster cars come out as we progress through the run. So the first 3 segments are pretty slow, and then they gradually increase in speed for every 3 races. And you may hear me splitting in the background, and that's just because I have my splits open, because I've had a lot of good runs that have been on world record pace lately. So I'm just trying to make sure that if that does happen, then I am equipped for it. So that was the first race. That was Glacier Falls Reverse. I think you'll see Glacier Falls one more time during the speedrun. And then this is Black Gold Highway Reverse, which is the longest circuit in the game. Or one of them. It's about the same length as Ocean Drive. Yeah, Jugachi. I say it would have been a lot more plausible a couple days ago, because I improved my world record by like a minute the other day. But it could still happen, so I just thought I'd rather be safe than sorry, basically. I go around the outside of that car there. That's actually a strat that I've developed, because it's way easier to do that than to try and take the inside line, and most of the time you'll crash into him if you try and do that. So here's one of the harder endurance oncoming sections of the run. You spend like 20 seconds or something just driving clean and oncoming traffic. But the thing about driving in oncoming traffic is that you can usually just take the side lanes, and then you can avoid all the traffic by doing that. But you keep your oncoming bonus, and you can just about fill your boost bar by solely driving in oncoming traffic for the entire time that your boost is burning. Sometimes you can get screwed over by traffic here, but it appears that I am fine. Cool, that was a race that I did without crashing. Those are pretty hard to come by in this run, so when I do them it is pretty exciting. And subsequently on my splits I just got a best segment because I'd never done that before, since I used my modern splitting method. So I am in fact 3 seconds ahead of the world record right now. And we're coming up on Bushido Peak reverse. You'll see Black Gold Highway forward later on in the run. This is one of my preferred tracks in the game, just because it's really, really well made in my opinion. Like, that's one thing that this game does really well, is its level design. Oh. I think it's honestly a miracle that I didn't crash. Not that I'm complaining, obviously. Just saying it was quite lucky. I was quite slow to get my boost here, but that usually happens on this level. It's quite difficult to execute a takedown in the beginning, just because of the way that the opponents drive. So here is the reason I love this level so much. I've got what I refer to endearingly as the Bushido S's, which is a series of S-bends as you drive up a mountain. And they feel super satisfying to pull off. I've IL'd this level in the faster cars, obviously, more times than I could even tell you. I've probably devoted about 50 hours to ILing this level in itself, just because those S-bends feel so good to do, and also the world record was the most optimized one of all the ones that I was going for. And it stood for about 10.5 years, something like that, until I beat it earlier this year. Which means it's still one of the most optimized world records, but not one that I have to worry about too much anymore. And that was crashless again, so I'm now 10 seconds ahead of the world record. I'd just like to clarify that I have seen the error of my ways, and the past 2 times that I have said that I'm on world record pace, that may not actually be true, on account of the fact that I am not comparing against world record at the moment. I'm comparing against a 1:03.44, which I got yesterday in practice. So I actually need to shave off nearly 2 minutes from this run to be able to get the world record. Okay, this is a slightly harder level, Spiritual Gate forward. One of the hardest things here is initially getting your boost. There we go. I actually executed a nice takedown there. There was a car and oncoming traffic there that was a bit earlier than I was used to, but I made it work. This is a very difficult track to not crash in, just because there's a very long oncoming section here, which you have to be careful in, and then you have to switch sides of the road whilst driving on oncoming traffic, which is why it's difficult. but I got it this time. Every race from here is 2 laps rather than 1 lap. Only the first series has 1 lap races, which is because it's kind of an introductory feature for the GP. But after that, all of them are 2 laps, except for the track Autobahn loop, which is 3 laps because it is significantly shorter than all the other tracks in the game. It's only like a 30-second IL, as opposed to the other ones, which are anywhere from a minute to a minute 40. But once again, they're a little bit longer. Like I said, very difficult to crash, or not crash rather. They're a little bit longer when you're driving the car that I'm driving, because it drives about 50 miles an hour slower than the fastest cars in the game. I'm guessing that the chat's probably filled with like Europeans right now who have no idea what miles per hour is. It's a very British measurement of speed. I remember I went to France once, and the signs with the speed limit on all said like 90 and stuff like that, and I was like, yo, that's really fast, what the hell? And then I remembered that kilometers per hour was a thing. Okay, so now we move on to Tuscan Hills Forward. This is one of my more sort of comfortable tracks. You know, I might crash here, but if I do, then it's pretty bad because I'm typically pretty good at this race compared to a lot of the other ones. Just took a nice shortcut there, which is what that was about. Cool. I don't always get that right. It's interesting because there's 2 different variations of this track, and you hug the wall there to go down the oncoming lane as you're driving down the hill in this variation of the track, but in the other one you go out wide to drive down the forward section of the track because there's traffic in the oncoming lane. It's quite interesting that the traffic actually varies depending on which version of the track you're playing. Because that's the case for 4 of the tracks in this game, is that they have variations. So Bushido Peak, which we saw earlier, and Spiritual Gate, which we saw earlier, both have variations called Bushido Valley and Spiritual Towers. You won't see Spiritual Towers in this run. But it does feature in some runs. Bushido Valley appears twice later in this run, and then this track also has a variation called Tuscan View, which is slightly shorter, and appears, I think, once during the run as well. I'm not quite sure why various tracks in this run have the variations that they do, but I just kind of go with it. So this has been quite strong so far. Not really many sections I can crash in now unless I do something stupid. It won't be... If I crash now, it won't be due to traffic, basically. Unless there is traffic in a position where I'm not expecting it to be. Because sometimes that happens. Rarely, but sometimes. I feel like that would be an amazing joke if I'd ever played Cuphead. Alright, that was strong. I've only crashed twice so far. It's pretty good. Pretty good for this far through the run. Oh wow, that's not even a joke. That was actually just straight up terrible. Sorry to anyone that runs Cuphead. I don't know why you do that to yourself. It sounds like running Pokemon. So this is the Autobahn. Being that Jugachi is German, he should know all about this. That's a good joke. This has one of the hardest sections to try and keep your boost chain going. Just on the basis that there's no oncoming for ages, so you pretty much have to solely drift and drift and drift and drift and hope for the best. Well, if that's the case, then technically I'm not breaking the speed limit. Although I probably still am with how fast my pace is right now. Whoa! Okay, that was scary. But I made it work. Because I'm just that good. Pardon me. That's the top speed of this. It's a factory car, okay? Whoa, that was close. Ah, that's a shame. Alright, that's my third crash of the run. Still pretty impressive. To only crash 3 times in the space of 2 series. Although they are the first 2 series, bear in mind. So it's significantly easier than, say, the last 2 series. Although I'm pretty sure in the final series I did only crash like 3 times in my PB. I clutched it out like properly. Yeah, I'm actually losing time over my practice run on the basis that I'm pretty sure this segment was crashless. Okay, so that was the factory series. So now we move on to the tuned series, where the top speed of the cars I think is 175 miles an hour. Oh yeah, that's a good feature of this game, which you're not going to hear a lot of now, but you might later. They have 4 versions of the song Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne. And they're all good. So far I've only ever heard the English and Spanish versions during runs. But I'm pretty sure they have a Mandarin Chinese and a Japanese version in the game as well. Oh, pardon me. I think you can. Obviously I didn't do that now, but I feel like if I ever got this game into a GDQ, I probably would do that. So I'm taking a little shortcut here. That is a Black Gold Highway forward exclusive. You can't do it on reverse. Okay, I'm on 4 crashes right now. I'm pretty sure my segments here in the Tune series had a lot of crashes in my practice run. In my actual PB, they went really, really well. I'm pretty sure the next race was actually crashless. This one had like 1 crash, and the final race had 1 crash as well. So it's quite good for the Tune series. Oh yeah, that's one thing you probably didn't pick up. But because this game, I don't know if you guys know how British rating systems work, because I know they work differently to American game rating systems. But I don't know how like European ones work. Or New Zealand for that. Oh, I went the wrong way. It's a bit of a time loss. But this game is for people aged 3 and up. So they had to censor the word hell in the song that is currently playing in the background, which I think is really fun. Alright, 1 crash, not too bad, although I do have an extra lap. I'm going to try and not crash. It's significantly easier to not crash when you're driving the forward variation of this track rather than the reverse variation. And this is the forward variation, so it should be good. Even though I actually didn't crash when I did the reverse variation earlier, so maybe I'm just an idiot. That was scary. Yeah, that's what they use. Peggy. Because you always see it in the adverts over here in the UK. Like before they advertise a game. It's always like Peggy 18 or something like that. Alright, I'm going to take the shortcut this time. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but basically it's the lowest age rating that you can give to a game. Okay, I saved quite a lot of time there because that was pretty good. I saved like 24 seconds over my practice run. Pardon me again. I'm sorry, I'm not talking very powerfully. I think I must have done something to my throat. I should have had a drink before I started my run. But it's a little bit late for that now. This is probably the hardest track in the run, I'd say. When I IL'd this level, it took me the most time to actually get a run going. When I did get a run going, I got the record fairly quickly. But actually getting a run to go was a bit of a challenge, just because the traffic is sporadic. But since I actually found a way to manipulate traffic in ILs, but obviously you can't do that for speedruns. That said, the traffic is actually usually pretty nice during the speedrun, and we only have to go to this circuit once, so it's not too bad. It's another rather long track in this game. Along with Black Gold Highway, it's the longest one. They're about 1 minute 40 roughly. I think that's the record for both of them at the moment, is either a 1:39 or a 1:40 in both the forward and reverse variations of the track. But this one is considerably harder. Black Gold Highway is pretty hard, but it's got nothing on this level. This section here, the beginning section of lap, is definitely the hardest bit, just to navigate through the oncoming traffic without crashing. Requires a lot of precision. So basically I'm a beast is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Yeah, there's a small section of S-bends here, but they're nowhere near as good as the Bushido Peak ones in my opinion. Dude, that's a pretty funny story. Sorry I took so long to acknowledge that. It's hard to play a racing game and read long messages of chat at the same time. But yeah, that seems pretty plausible, honestly. Yo, that was really good. I saved like another 30 seconds over my model run. It's a skill I've developed over many years, Bruce. Or rather, whilst speedrunning, because I've been speedrunning nearly 5 years now actually. Not this game, I picked this up. Well, I picked up speedrunning this game in general a couple of years ago, but I started running this category about 2 months ago. So this is Steel Town Works, the forward variation. You don't get to see the reverse variation in this run, but you do get to see the forward variation again, and then again another time after that. Ah, that was stupid. Oh, it worked. It's fine. Okay, that's my first crash of the series, actually. But yeah, it's the only track that features in this run 3 times. Because I guess they liked it that much. Although the more plausible definition that I couldn't give you an answer to is that it probably just doesn't feature much in the other events throughout each series. And also it's, again, one of the harder tracks in the run, so they put it in more. 2 crashes now. This is pretty bad. I'm going to try and not crash again. I hope you enjoyed the Burger King product placement that goes on a lot throughout this level, and also through Spiritual City levels. I'm guessing they must have been sponsored by Burger King to make this game or something, because there are a lot of Burger King signs. Reminder, don't give your money to capitalist fast food chains. Give it to Themeathon instead. Hey, I'm stupid. It's alright, I'm close to the end anyway. Alright, I lost about 10 seconds there, but it's alright. I crashed like 3 times there, so that's 6 crashes so far this run, I think, which is pretty good given that I'm 3 series in. Now we move on to the Hot Rod series. I haven't really practiced this one at all, so it could go awfully. Okay, we're back to the Autobahn. This time it's Autobahn Loop rather than just Autobahn. This is the shorter Autobahn variation, but it's also the reverse variation of the particular track, so slightly harder because a lot of it takes place in forced oncoming traffic. The Shortobahn. That is a brilliant name. Most of the time my viewers just complain because I lose my runs to Autobahn or Autobahn Loop. That was a good perfect lap. Just got to do that 2 more times. And believe me, that's easier to say than it is to do. Nailed it though. A burnout lap is exactly the same as a perfect lap, except it's one in which you were constantly performing a burnout. Which obviously I was doing there, but you can't do it in the first lap because you don't start with the capacity to do that. So that's actually the only time in the run that you'll ever see the words burnout lap. Well, apart from on potentially the other Autobahn loop, which is later on in the run. So that's one of 2 times you could see that phrase in the run. It's a good crashless race. Now we move on to the spiritual gate again, this time the reverse variation. This one's actually slightly easier than the forward variation, on the basis that it's kind of a bit easier to get your boost without crashing than it is in the forward variation. There's always a vehicle that crashes on there, that's what I found. Always one crashes when it's trying to get through. Now it's time for an oncoming extravaganza. This is probably one of the harder extreme oncoming sections in the run. Whoa, whoa, that was insane. I hope you were watching that. I just caught some serious airtime. Ah, whatever. That's one crash, it's fine. One crash is about as much sort of liberty as I give myself when it comes to races, and then any more than that is like a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, obviously one crash is a bad thing as well, but it's very difficult to avoid crashing at all. So typically I say, if I can crash 1 or less times, then that's good. I took that turn slightly late. I made it work, but it was just slightly slower than it could have been because I was late to take it. Ah, okay, whatever. It's fine. I should still be about even with my model run. I guess I crashed here twice during that too. Yeah, I made up a couple seconds. Alright, the next course is Tuscan View. Yo, what's up, Phoenix? Good to see you, man. This is a slightly shorter variation of the track Tuscan Hills, which you saw earlier. And it starts in a slightly different location as well. So there is the shortcut there, but you don't take it on the first lap because it's much easier to obtain your boost if you don't. Oh, okay. Well, typically you do take that section of the shortcut, but I missed it this time around, so it's fine. Yeah, so where the difference lies is that you usually turn right here in Tuscan Hills, but you turn left onto this road, and then you head into probably the hardest section of all of Tuscany, a little bit further up. Yeah, around here, this is a nightmare for crashing. So if I do it without crashing, that's pretty good. This bit should look vaguely familiar. And like I said, take it on the outside, because there's cars on the inside. Ah, and there was one on the outside this time as well. Okay. Just ignore everything I say from here on out. Okay. This is really bad. This Hot Rod series is not going amazingly so far. Which is a shame, because my first segments were really promising. But it's fine. Dude, if that camera glitch happens again, I'm gonna be so upset. Because this is, like, actually on decent pace. What is going on? That's the second time that's happened now. I keep crashing. I'm gonna lose time here for sure. Go give me some more takedowns. I only need one. Oh, every run has a race that goes kind of like this. That's my fourth crash, which is more than I had in the entire of the first two series in one race. Yeah, I only lost 8 seconds over my model run though. I'm gonna say that PBing would definitely still be possible at this point. That's a good joke. Okay, now we're on to the Super Series. This is Still Time Works Forward again, just in case you didn't enjoy it the first time. There's another time. Slightly faster, and when I say slightly, I mean like 15 miles an hour faster. This is a nice car though, so... should be good. I'm hoping. Okay. That was my fault entirely. I think that's like my 7th crash of the series, so more than the previous 3 series combined. Oh wait, no, this is a different series now. I think I had 6 crashes in the series before, so the same. So I'd been on, 13 crashes. That's still pretty good for this far into the run. Bit more Burger King product placement. It's a capitalist world out there, guys. Okay, that lap was slightly better, and I actually ended up saving 10 seconds. I guess this segment must have gone really bad in that model run I was on about. Glacier Falls. This is the easiest track in the run. That's a meme at this point. Because I always crash here after I say it's the easiest track in the run. It's already featured twice, Phoenix. There's one more time coming up shortly-ish, I think. It's definitely not the last track or the penultimate track, so it's either the next one or the one after that. Oh, I was so desperate to prove this track wrong. I really wanted to get crashless. Because it's not hard. Okay, well I guess I'm going around this way. That's fine. Just means that I'm probably not going to save as much time as I could have done. Saved 4 seconds. Okay, it's Bushido Valley and then it's Autobahn. At the start of the Race Specials series. I should have known that. So this is the shorter version of Bushido Peak, which we saw earlier, but it's still a good level because it still has the S's. It just doesn't have the annoying hill. In the first track we don't go up that shortcut because it's easier to obtain boost by just weaving in between traffic, like so. I like doing that. Just kidding, I don't. Sorry, I know my commentary is pretty bad at the moment. It's insanely hard to focus and do commentary in the later stages of the run. Alright, so in the final 3 levels of the run, I have to save 30 seconds if I want to get the world record over what I'm currently running at. You deliberately don't pick the last car here because it's bad compared to this one. It just doesn't drive well. And it may surprise you to learn that this car's a European one and the one that drives badly is American. I tell you what, if I don't crash on any of these next 3 levels, I will happily donate the remainder of the money in my PayPal account to Themeathon. And before you think I'm making some grand gesture, there's literally like $5 left in my PayPal account, but it's fine because I don't have to give it anyway. Dude, Phoenix, I hate it when you're right. Dude, the traffic on this level is so bad. Alright, I can still save quite a bit of time here if the next lap was crashless. Nice lag. Sometimes you get lag on this level where the timer keeps running, but your car just doesn't. But yeah, I wouldn't have made a bet if I wasn't confident I was going to win. Because I'm not a gambling man, but I am a realist. And the good news is I should be saving like 20 seconds here anyway, despite those 2 crashes. Yeah, I saved 25 seconds on that segment alone. I've only actually got to save like another 5 through the next 2 now. And it's looking like that should be possible. Yeah, it's possible. Oh god. Oh, damn it. Ah, oh, god damn it. It's fine. That's something I need to figure out how to account for if there's a car crossing the Steeltown Works junction, because that's the only thing I have no way of avoiding. Like, I don't know how to avoid crashing there other than to just slow down, but that's not a viable option. I need to do some testing. Because it doesn't always happen, but when it does, I literally crash there every single time. So yeah, this is the third time that Steeltown Works is in this run. More Burger King product placement. Maybe that's why it's in this run so many times. That actually would make a lot of sense. More sponsorship money if they feature this track more often. I don't know how many times Spiritual City features throughout the game. Yeah, like there I was fine because no cars were crossing when I was driving through it, but in the instances where there are, I don't know how to avoid crashing into them. Okay, I'm on world record pace. And it looks like I have some time save here. If all goes well, it should take me about 2:15 to do this level. And I'm starting on about 28. So I can save like another 30 seconds here. This can be quite a low 201, or 101 rather. Okay, apologies if I'm quiet for this level, but I'd quite like to focus on getting the world record right now. The lovely Bushido S's to begin. Okay, cool, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, no one crashed into me, but it's still fine. Yeah, Phoenix, you're right, sorry. I need to get my priorities straight. Okay, lap 2. Get ready on time, by the way. I don't know if... Oh wait, no, you're from New Zealand. Never mind. I wasn't sure if that was a joke about me being British. But I don't really watch cricket. I'm more of a Formula 1 fan myself. Ah, okay, that's the second crash. It's absolutely fine. I've still got like 40 seconds to finish the run. Oh my god. That guy just owned me. Dear, dear. I always do this. Every single run that gets this far. I always do this. Okay. And time. Okay, well I make that out to be a 1:01:35. I don't know what the time showed up as on stream. But that is the world record by 28 seconds. How's that for you, Jugachi? I hope you enjoyed it. Another Themeathon world record. Alright, that's sick. Thank you so much for having me, Themeathon. And yeah, thanks for your support, everybody. It's been great. I've just started quite a long grind in this game, I anticipate, to try and get sub 1 hour. So, if that's something you want to watch, then definitely follow me on SoundCloud. And I'll see you later.